So this story relates to money that's been used from a campaign fund. It's a fund of money given by donors in this MP's local constituency for his campaigning expenses. And that money has instead been used directly by the MP Mark Menzies to pay for his own private medical expenses. That's about £14,000. And then there's also this £6,500 that was reimbursed to a staff member from the same campaign fund. That staff member had handed over their own money in response to a request from Mark, who said he'd been locked up in a flat in London by bad people and they were demanding this money or they wouldn't let him out. Certainly a long process. I first got wind of some of the events that we reported on yesterday, and not long after they'd happened, after that phone call in December. So it's been 4 months of reporting that have taken us to this point, speaking to lots of people, gathering evidence, and reaching a point where we're satisfied we can publish. I think we can only really speculate about the internal processes of the Conservative Party. I mean, the Chief Whip knew it was then passed to CCHQ. They've taken action in terms of speaking to people, but they haven't taken any action in terms of reaching a judgment on the complaint or taking action against the MP, suspending the whip, for example. In the meantime, the fact that they then moved very swiftly after we published, within 2 hours, there was an agreement that he would no longer have the whip pending the result of that investigation, I think probably speaks volumes about what's happened and what should have happened. So we'll obviously now see the conclusion in due course of this investigation by the Conservatives into his conduct. I think there's also going to be a lot of political pressure. We're already starting to see it on the Tory party about why they've known about this for so long and not taken any action until it was published in a national newspaper. It's 3.5 months since the complaint was first made to the Chief Whip about this MP's conduct. There's been a number of interviews, they've had evidence, and yet they've really taken their time over it. And I think there'll certainly be questions about whether that was about prioritising political expediency, avoiding another sleaze scandal, potentially another by-election, over the administration of justice. Well, clearly, it's the last thing that Rishi Sunak needed is yet another sleaze scandal. They're coming in waves now. It's extraordinary, really, how many we've seen in the last few months, how many resignations there have been, how many by-elections there have been in this current Parliament, and it can't but be damaging for the Conservatives at the polls and for trust in politicians more generally.